A little over a year ago, I was contacted by several separate individuals, all of whom hoped to enlist me in hampering the pervasive pestilence of the growing Torah movement by disproving the claims of its adherents. This would be easily done, I told them. After all, wasn't the law a curse? Wasn't it nailed to the cross? I agreed and told them I'd commit myself to a write-up on Paul's claim to fame, his first epistle, Galatians, using simple, concise logic. And so, I opened up Galatians and began reading. The circumcision issue became an immediate splinter in my mind by insisting that his Gentile converts not be circumcised by the Pharisees. Hadn't Paul disposed of the law? An entire year went by. People began to wonder, why isn't Noel writing against the Torah movement? It wasn't for a lack of dedication. I simply couldn't stop turning the issue over and over again, like an unsolved crime investigation from centuries past. Did Paul throw out the law, or didn't he? I was always spoon-fed from the time I could talk that Paul had indeed thrown out the law, and we weren't supposed to question that. His circumcision argument was proof enough, wasn't it? And then one day it occurred to me, what if circumcision was never about salvation? That's when I started calling up Torah observers on the phone. I wanted to understand their position, and I asked them, is this it? If Abraham was saved by faith through grace, then Israel was too. Nothing changed. The law itself never brought salvation. It was about circumcising the heart, which would in turn bring about obedience. Circumcising the heart always leads to obedience. From hundreds or thousands of miles away, it's like I could see them beam with delight, and I might as well have heard a hand clap from their end of the receiver. That's it, they said. They were generous with me as I attempted to wrap my head around my own misconstrued understanding of the Apostle Paul. They were kind and patient while I pulled down the wall of oral tradition, the Christian Talmud, brick by brick. It was a very tall wall. And as I did so, they challenged me to remove any number of bricks by addressing several points. How does the Bible define sin? Could I demonstrate where the dietary laws came to an end in the Bible? Could I demonstrate when the Sabbath was done away with in the Bible? Could I demonstrate when the feasts were done away with in the Bible? I took their challenges to the Bible. This wasn't about arguing. It was never about my own ego or religious superiority. There was no reason to pull anyone down into the mud pit of my emotions or succumb to a raging debate of intellectual dominance and arm wrestling. I simply wanted to line up with the Word. I wanted the intent of Scripture, not my wishful thinking, to be my guide. I've been a long-time Sunday observer, a long-time Sunday observer. And then last Sunday, my wife and I walked out of our church, knowing it would be the final time. We tried. We really did. Our pastor's message was about how the Gospels took place in the old religion. Jesus couldn't possibly have meant so many of his instructions for us. After all, it was a cursed old religion, one which God simply wanted to save us from. It was Paul, apparently, who delivered for us the new. We simply couldn't tolerate the stiff-necked Christian Talmud anymore. We were handing our children over to false doctrine. He was essentially telling his congregation to be disobedient to God and embrace lawlessness. Moreover, the Lord your God will circumcise your heart and the heart of your descendants to love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul, so that you may live. Yesterday, we completed our very first Sabbath. We had a camp out in the living room as a family. Read books, fell asleep, slept in, woke up and made breakfast as a family, read from the Bible, discussed what it all meant. We privately studied the Word, we played games, we walked through nature, and throughout it all, we rested. Thank you to everyone who has sent such encouraging notes before and afterward. It was truly touching. My family has been welcomed into a wonderful, God-fearing community. A little over a year ago, I attempted to prove Torah observers wrong using my Bible. In turn, the Bible proved me wrong, and I am so very grateful that it did.